Extra Minutes.
Sam's an amazing person. She's 22 now, and she's had anorexia, and bulimia, the eating disorder, since she was about 14. And really savage, to the point where she's attempted suicide a couple of times. And the only help was a psychiatrist. And the psychiatrist sexually molested her. So the person she trusted most in the world betrayed her, and that's the story.
One night, when I was in his office for 2 hours and the door was locked and the lights were off, and halfway through the session when he was, doing things to me, and just like, and in my head I was saying stop, 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 stop. And a nurse had come to do category checks, with...
The nurses had to see you?
Yeah.
Okay.
And they came knocking on the door, and Dr. Tan had put his hand over my mouth, and they just disappeared, and they never came back. And they...
Even though the door was locked and the lights were off?
Yeah.
You forget that anorexia and bulimia and eating disorders are a mental illness. That's what they are. You can't simply say, look, why don't you eat this, or why don't you stop throwing up? It's a serious mental illness with voices in the head and all kinds of, as bad as depression or as bad as schizophrenia. It's a very common trouble. I've been doing it now, stories on anorexia, since the Bronte story we did about 16 or 17 years ago. And that's the first time we sort of introduced anorexia as a major plague amongst young Australian women. They estimate that between about 10 and 12% of young women actually have this eating disorder, whether it's bulimia or anorexia.
I didn't realise that it was common, and I really didn't think that it would be my world. So looking for symptoms of something like that just wasn't on my radar. So I really didn't think that it could happen in my house and I wouldn't know. I
guess the message of this story is that that eating disorders aren't just something silly that your sister does or the girlfriend next door does. It is a serious mental illness, and so quite often they're hearing voices in the head. The voices say, you're ugly, you're fat, you're stupid, he doesn't care, no one loves you, all these sorts of things. And you can't walk away from those. When you've got a mental illness, you take it to bed with you when you go to bed, or you take it in your quiet moments. You can't simply switch it off. And I hope we recognise that, girls can be tough in school with each other, and I hope they realise that you've got to care for these people, and these young women are delicate and brittle, and they need your help.